Hello, I'm doing a movie review, and the movie I want to review is Tales from the Crypt Presents Ritual. Now, Ritual is the third film in a trilogy of spin-off movies of the television series Tales from the Crypt. Now, originally, the third Tales from the Crypt movie, I believe, was actually going to be a movie called Dead Easy. There was even a little after-credit sequence after the credits of Demon Knight, where the Crypt Keeper comes out talking about his new movie, Dead Easy. So, I believe Dead Easy was originally going to be the third Tales from the Crypt movie, but Bordello of Blood really didn't do too well, so a third Tales from the Crypt movie never happened until 2002, when this movie was released. Now, Ritual is actually a remake of a 1943 film called I Walked with a Zombie, which I'm ashamed to admit I have never seen I Walked with a Zombie. I know it's considered to be like a classic, and I actually do have the movie on DVD, but I never watched it. But this movie is a remake of the movie I Walked with a Zombie. Now, I believe this originated as a Tales from the Crypt movie, but then when they were actually releasing it, they removed the opening of the movie, which is narrated by the Crypt Keeper, but then when they released it on DVD, they put the opening back in, or something like that. All I know is that there are versions of this movie that don't have the Crypt Keeper opening. So, the plot of Ritual is, it's about this doctor played by Jennifer Grey who lost her job because she attempted to save this child who was dying from, I think, like cancer or something, and she tried to give this child medicine that hasn't been officially approved yet, so because of this she gets her license pretty much suspended, but now she gets a job. She gets offered a job down in Jamaica. Basically, the job is to take care of this guy's brother, so she goes down to Jamaica and she has to take care of this guy who is apparently very, very sick. But it turns out that this guy actually believes that he is a zombie. He believes that his soul was taken from him by a voodoo priest. And she, of course, doesn't believe this at all, but then she starts to have really bizarre dreams and hallucinations, and other people around her start to have hallucinations as well, and it turns out that there is a voodoo priest at work here. And throughout the movie, she starts to develop a relationship with this guy who thinks he's a zombie. Now, this movie also stars Craig Sheffer, who is in movies like Nightbreed and Hellraiser Inferno, and Tim Curry is also in this movie as well, and Tim Curry's character in the movie is actually a really, really entertaining character. Now, despite Tim Curry's performance, which is definitely the best part of this movie, this is by far, in my opinion at least, the weakest of the three Tales from the Crypt movies, and it really isn't a bad movie by any means, but it's also not a terribly great movie either. The problem with this film is it's very, very forgettable. Like, really, like, out of the three Tales from the Crypt movies, this is the most forgettable out of all of them, and honestly, it's just kind of a mediocre movie, to be honest. I mean, there's nothing in this movie that's overly bad, but there's nothing in the movie that's really overly good either. I mean, I will say this, it's a fairly well-made movie, and a pretty well-acted movie too, and the story is interesting, but there's really nothing to this movie that really can make me really, really recommend this movie. I mean, I recommend watching it and making your own opinion of it. Who knows, you might love the movie, or you might absolutely hate this movie. Me, I neither love this nor hate this, or even like this for that matter. This movie, literally, it's one of those movies that's really just kind of there for me. I mean, it's just a bland, mediocre kind of movie, at least in my opinion. Now, if I were to pick out things that I didn't like about this movie, it would definitely be some of the CGI effects in this movie. This movie actually does have some pretty bad CGI effects, but another problem I had with this movie, and this is really only in one scene, and it's in the beginning of the movie, it's the scene where the main character, Jennifer Grey's character, is trying to save this little girl who's dying from cancer. When the little girl dies, she goes, "Oh no," but it slows down the audio of her voice where it goes, "Oh no," and it was so freaking laughable, and it's supposed to be a really dramatic, very serious scene. That's also a scene that kind of defies Jennifer Grey's character in this movie, but it's so freaking laughable. Where in these filmmakers' minds did they think slowing down the audio like that was going to be taken seriously? Like, you see that kind of shit in comedies and parodies. You don't see that kind of shit in a scene that's clearly meant to be taken seriously. Luckily, you only have shit like that in the beginning of the movie, but that scene was really freaking laughable and really freaking unnecessary too, especially considering it's supposed to be a really serious scene, but you have Jennifer Grey's audio being slowed down, going, "Oh no," and it's just so freaking ridiculous. So, yeah, that's my review on Tales from the Crypt Presents Ritual. It's not a terrible movie, but not a great movie either. I neither love it nor hate it, but honestly, I recommend giving it a watch anyway and making your own opinion of it. And once again, you might love this, you might hate this, but it's, for me, just kind of a whatever kind of movie. But yeah, that's my review on Ritual, and bye.